This hostel was amazing. He's like, okay, there's snakes, there's landmines everywhere. They will arrest you. Oh, what a good time. Anyways, kayaking. You can jump off the cliff. So the Plitvice Lakes, it was so cool. If you're staying. Hello everyone, my name is Jenna Brown and welcome back to my channel. This is going to be more of a sit down talky type of video. It's about my absolute favorite hostel in Croatia, and I thought about doing this because obviously right now it's hard to travel, and so why not just reminisce on all my old travels. This video isn't just about my favorite hostel in Croatia, it's about the things that I did while staying in that hostel, therefore making it my favorite hostel in Croatia. It is called Falling Lakes Hostel. So the main reason people stay in this hostel is because it's really close to the Plitvice Lakes in Croatia, and those are the famous lakes. There isn't a town right near the lakes. The closest town is Krenica, which is where I stayed, and it is seriously a tiny town. It's so cute, and it's about 20 minutes from the lakes. But anyways, I caught a bus from Zagreb going through Krenica and dropped me off. This bus was at 9 p.m. and I think it got into the little town at around 12:30 p.m. so it was pitch black. They were like, okay, we're here in Krenica, and it was so dark, and I get off the bus and I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna find my little like hostel in the dark? And the instructions are just like written out, like go up the street, turn left, blah blah. I like get out with this lady and she's like, oh, are you going to the Falling Lakes Hostel? I was like, yeah. She's like, oh, thank God we can go together. Wander up to this hostel, and if you get to the hostel after a certain time, like I think it's after 10 or after, I forget, but after a certain time you have to let them know, otherwise it's locked and you can't get in. So we had to let them know, and they left keys outside in these envelopes. Get the keys and we sneak in because they're like, be quiet, people are sleeping. So we sneak in and like are in the front. Oh my gosh, something just came back to me. Anyways, we have all of our bags because we don't really know where our rooms are, and we don't want to go in the room where everyone's sleeping and like mess around. So we're like in the lobby trying to get our like toothbrush and pajamas and stuff ready to go get changed. And we're in the bathroom brushing our teeth, and then we hear this like banging on the front door. So I'm laughing because it just flashed back to me. So we're in there brushing our teeth, we're like, nope, like we haven't even met the people who like work here, like it's just us two. And I kept thinking like, oh my God, like someone followed us from the bus, like what the heck. And so it's just banging, and then we're like in the bathroom, which is the window you can see in from the front door. And so we're just in there, and the guy, like I don't know if he saw us in there, but we're just in there being quiet, like what do we do? Like we haven't even talked to anyone yet, like we got keys to come in, so this person obviously isn't meant to be here. He's just banging on the door, and we were just so stressed. Like, oh my God, it was so funny. We're like kind of laughing, but also like kind of worried. I was convinced someone had followed us from the bus and was like, gonna do something bad. Anyways, then this lady who works there comes running down the stairs and opens the door, and it's this man, and and he's like asking for a place to stay. Apparently he walked all the way from the lakes to this hostel, which took him like 3 hours, and got here and was knocking on the door hoping to stay here. And like luckily they let him in, and he just slept on the floor or the couch or something. But I remember being like, finding that out in the morning and being just like shocked, like he freaking walked, like what? Anyways, that was a tangent of a story. Okay, right, so the hostel. This hostel is perfect if you like outdoors, nature, adventures, because they have all these things that you can do from the hostel. You can go to the lakes, they have a little shuttle that takes you there and picks you up. You can go on, I think they have 2 hikes that you can do, and they have kayaking from the hostel. I was only supposed to stay there for 1 night or 2 nights. I think 2 nights. I ended up staying an extra night to do the kayaking at the end. In the morning, I had woken up, I talked to the guy, I wrote my name down for the shuttle to the lakes, and then the girl that I met the night before, her name's Allie, she talked to the guy and he told her about the hike, the Pljesevica, oh my god, this word, Pljesevica, Pljesevica, oh my god. Pljesevica. Pljesevica. Okay. So anyways, he was talking to us about the Pljesevica mountain trek, which is this hike that takes a day, and she really wanted to do it, but I was really not into it, mostly because I wasn't prepared to do any kind of hiking. I didn't have runners and I didn't bring leggings. I wasn't really planning on doing a ton of exercise because I was just by myself. But anyways, I didn't bring any of that stuff. And she was really like, let's go, come on, it'd be way better to do it together. And I was like, I don't know. And so anyway, she ended up lending me a pair of her leggings, and I just wore my Adidas shoes on this hike. If you're going on this hike, you need to go and talk to the guy about like the hike. You can't just go because there's reasons why you can't just do that. This guy hands us this hand-drawn map of how to get to the trailhead and gives us these very strict instructions. He's like, okay, there's snakes, and they're poisonous snakes. They're called diamond head snakes, and if you see them, do not step on them. Just avoid them at all costs. They're very poisonous, and you don't want to get bitten. And I'm like terrified of snakes, so I'm literally like, oh frick, are you kidding me? Like, no, this is gonna be great. And then he's like, okay, and there's also could be bears. And he's like, oh yeah, by the way, bring your passports. Sometimes there's border police there or border patrol there and they will arrest you. He goes, this is very important. When you're at the top and you can see over on the other side of the hill, which that's Bosnia, he's like, and over here is Croatia. When you can see those two, he's like, do not go on that side of the mountain. The Bosnia side, there's landmines everywhere, and if you go in that forest, he's like, just do not go in there. He's like, there's signs, you'll see them, do not go past the signs. When someone tells you this on a hike you're about to go on, it's like a little bit intimidating. And we're just like, I was like, what am I getting myself into? So we started up on the hike. The first bit was a bit challenging because we were following that paper map that led through all the farms, and it was literally like, walk 10 minutes straight and then turn left, walk 5 minutes until you see the cross in the roads. Like, we ended up actually getting really confused in the beginning part, but anyways, we finally make it to the trailhead. We start walking, and we actually did see 2 snakes. She was walking in front of me, and she just goes, diamond, and like jumps back and starts running. She like crashes into you and start running down the hill. There was 2 diamond head snakes just like on the trail in front of us, and so we had to wait until they scurried off. Oh, it was so creepy. Oh. Anyways, we get through the dry terrain. And this mountain, I swear to God, there was the dry terrain at the bottom, which was like hot and deserty, it felt like. And then you get into the middle part, which was like forest, and there was a little bit of snow. And then up at the top, there was like snow and just rock, pretty much. No trees up there. So it was like pretty crazy. Where you're hiking wasn't an actual trail. You were just bushwhacking and hoping to see these little markers everywhere. So I hiked through the middle part, which was pretty hard. Lots of trees, and we saw an owl actually.
I guess it would just sleep.
This camera doesn't really zoom in that far. Dude, it totally is. This hike is one of the most unique hikes in Croatia. The mountain that you're hiking up holds one of the largest underground airports and military bases in the world. It's not active anymore. It's all abandoned, but it has like 3 kilometers of underground tunnels and an old abandoned, I don't know what the building was, but it was like this crazy old abandoned building. We just wandered around, and then there's this famous rock that's just like sticking out of the side of the mountain. Going down to that rock, in my opinion, was the most sketchy part because it was so steep and the gravel was not very sturdy and you could just like slide down if you lost control. We climbed up on this rock and ate lunch there and it was so cool.
Sandwich has never looked better.
Like one of the coolest views, and to be able to sit on the rock and see so far in the distance where our hostel was. It was so cool to think that we'd come that far, but it's also like absolutely miserable thinking about how we had to go all the way back down. Oh my gosh. On the way down it was obviously easier, but at the end I literally wanted to cry because I could feel everything poking up at my feet and I was in so much pain. And I think it took us like 9 hours to do the whole thing. 1,650 meters elevation. And when we were walking back through the farm fields, it was like sunset, so it was so beautiful and there was little cows everywhere. And the town was so cute because there wasn't a lot of people there, so when you're just walking down the street, everyone honks at you and waves. I think because they know that you don't actually live there. So that was the first day that I stayed at this hostel, was the whole hiking experience. And then that night I met this other girl, her name is Emma. I meet this girl in my dorm room, and this could be a whole story in itself, but my boyfriend Emerson grew up in the same small town as her, and his brother is best friends with this girl. And we find this out, actually the smallest world experience I've ever had, and yeah, that literally could be its own story. Anyway, so I meet her and we were just like in shock that it was such a small world moment. So we invite her to come to the lakes with us the next day. So the Plitvice Lakes, there's 16 of them and they are connected with waterfalls and they run through this canyon, and there's 2 routes, so you can do the upper lakes and then the lower lakes. The lower lakes have those like famous pictures of that you see on postcards and stuff. Those are the lower lakes. So we started with the upper lakes because we wanted to finish off with the best part. We wandered around up the top, which is still so beautiful, and you're walking along these wooden platforms over the water, and the water is clear turquoise blue. The waterfalls are incredible. We walked down the lower lakes, and that's where like the huge waterfall is, and there's this one spot online it's like the postcard view of the lakes. None of the locals tell you about it because I think they want to keep it like a hidden gem, otherwise everyone would go there. And I'd read a blog post maybe like a day or 2 days before I went there, but I didn't screenshot it or anything, so when we were actually there I didn't have it, which was so dumb. I remember them being like, why didn't you do that? You get to the bottom and then you can see you're kind of at like the end of the path, and there's the huge waterfall over here, and then there's these stairs that you can walk up on this side. And what you want to do is you want to go up the stairs, and we honestly didn't know where we were going, but what we did know is when we were down and we saw the big waterfall, we saw this little lookout over on the right of the huge waterfall, and we saw the lookout and I was like, that's probably the spot. So we went up the stairs trying to like see if we could find a path, and then there wasn't a path. So we ended up walking down this road a little bit and then found this path. It was seriously pretty random that we found this place. And oh my god, we saw a snake. There were snakes there. Ooh, along the path and stuff. Ooh. But anyways, we get to this lookout and there was us and like one photographer guy. We literally had all the time in the world to take as many pictures of each other as we wanted. There was no one else there. But anyways, after that we missed the shuttle back to the hostel, so we ended up taking this random bus and went back to the hostel. And Allie and I we weren't traveling together, but we were supposed to leave the same day, so we were only there for 2 nights. And then Emma had just gotten there the night before, so she really wanted to go kayaking and was like, oh, do you guys want to go kayaking? She kept like bringing it up to us. Checked if they had an extra bed available in the hostel, and they did. And Allie got another room too, so we stayed an extra night, signed up for kayaking in the morning, and So the next day we got up to go kayaking. It wasn't super expensive. It was also less expensive because there's 4 of us. So the more people, the less expensive. And it was so much fun. Seriously, 10 out of 10 experience. Our guide was super funny. Oh, what a good time. Anyways, kayaking. And it was fun because you were, like, there wasn't anyone steering for you. It was literally you and your partner who were in the kayaks together, and you'd have to steer to go down these, the rapids. And it was so much fun. There was one point where you get to this waterfall and you can jump off. You send the kayaks over down it, and then you can jump off the cliff.
Bravo!
It was 7 meters and there was a 9-meter one, and I'm not good with heights. That is, like, I've never jumped off the 5-meter board at any pool.
Bravo!
So jumping off this was like, it took me a lot to be able to actually jump off this thing. And we'd like climb back up, do it again. It was so much fun. The water was absolutely freezing. I remember jumping in and being like in shock and could barely like move to the little ledge. So much fun. And then we got to this part that was like an actual canyon on either side, and you're just down at the bottom floating down. It was so cool. If you're staying in this hostel, I would 100,000% recommend doing this. It was one of the coolest things I did on that 2 weeks. Like, everything I did at this hostel was something I remember. Even still, it's like the best part of that trip. It was such a fun time. And I think that just proves that when you're traveling by yourself and like you can be in the coolest place, but sometimes it's the people that you meet when you're there that make the experience 100 times better. Like those girls, we traveled together for a couple days in a row after that, and we just had the best time, and I will always remember that. And I feel like you get to know people so well, and it was just so much fun. So this hostel was amazing. All the experiences I had when I was there was amazing, and I really think that if you're going to Croatia, you should check out this place. Some other good things about the hostel is since it's such a small town and like there's not a lot to do there, you spend so much time with the people that are also in the hostel, because at 8 p.m. like you can't go into the town, and it's such a small town, there's nothing really to do. So everyone like gets back from the lakes and they have all these events at night, and you get to actually like meet and hang out with people. Whereas in some bigger cities, some of the hostels, I like don't interact with people because people go and party, and then like no one's forcing you to stay in the hostel. But here it was like the main thing to do. So yeah, I think that's it for this video. If you guys like this little story time, I went to a bunch of other countries and could talk about some of my other experiences in some of those places as well. What am I rambling on about? I've just been talking. Okay, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!